All right, welcome here, all of our NCSA members. Coach Eric coming to you today. Have the pleasure of being able to speak with Coach Abe Woldeslassie from Macalester University, Division III program located in St. Paul, Minnesota. Coach, thanks for joining us today.
Hey, Coach Eric, great to be here with you, and just excited for this opportunity. So thanks again.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. We appreciate you joining in. Coach is going on your fourth year there at Macalester?
Year three.
Year three.
Yep.
The third year there at Macalester. Coach is a former player for Macalester, has made other stops in coaching along his path, coached at the Division I level. And as he said, he's in his third year here at Macalester. Looks like he's got a pretty good team coming back this year. So we wanted to sit down with him today, give him an opportunity to tell us a little bit about his program. And I want to open it up to him to talk about Macalester here next. So Coach, take it away here for a little bit to go into what Macalester is and what you guys are looking to bring in there at the university.
Thanks, Coach Eric. Yeah, so I just finished year three at Macalester. We are a Division III school in St. Paul, Minnesota. And like you said, I'm a proud graduate. So I graduated from here in 2008 and then started my coaching journey and coached really all over the country. Started out at Bowdoin College in Maine for a couple of years. And then I went to Dartmouth in New Hampshire, and then Davidson in North Carolina, and then Siena College in New York, and then came back to Macalester College in 2018. So we're 10 minutes from downtown St. Paul. We're 15 minutes from downtown Minneapolis. We're, depending on traffic, 10 to 15 minutes from the airport. So we're kind of in this nice middle point between three important areas in the Twin Cities. And yeah, very, very special place. 2,100 students here from all 50 states and over 90 countries. So last year we had students from 98 countries. So very internationally focused. And for students who want to be near a city, we're in St. Paul, like I said, but we're not right downtown. We're it feels almost suburban where we are. It's a nice balance, I think. So yeah, just a little bit about us.
Awesome. Well, we know that Macalester is a very high academic school, and really cool to hear you guys have a pretty substantial international presence there. What type of academic profile do you guys usually look for in a student athlete and a basketball player you guys would recruit?
Yeah, so I don't want to put a specific number because for example, a student could have a 3.8 at one school and another student could have a 3.6, and the 3.6 might be stronger. So I think our admissions department wants to see that students are taking challenging courses. So if kids can take APs or IB classes, they want to see that. We are test optional. So that's something that's new this year and will continue moving forward. It's also free to apply. So there's no application fee. But again, going to the academic piece, I think just taking as challenging of a course load as you can. Generally, I would say 3.5 and above, but there are exceptions. So
gotcha.
Yeah. Yep. And so what we'll do is we'll ask coaches or recruits for their transcript and then their senior year courses. We give that to admissions, and then they give us an idea of if the student A will get into the college, and then if so, B, will they qualify for any merit scholarships? So.
Gotcha. Very good to know. And once the student is admitted and is on campus, what are some of the popular majors that guys on your team are usually looking to study?
Yeah, so we had 13 players on our team last year, and 6 of the 13 were economics majors. So we don't have a business school, but econ is usually the major that a lot of our guys end up deciding. But we do have a few bio majors on our team. We had 2 physics majors. We had 1 media and cultural studies. We had 1 who was an English major, wants to go to law school. And you don't have to declare till the end of your sophomore year. So usually students will come in their freshman year and they might have an idea of what they want to major in, but we ask them to take just a few generals just to get, because you may come in thinking you're going to major in one thing and you decide by sophomore year you're going to major in something else. But traditionally, I would say economics has been the major that most of our guys have chosen.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's definitely how it went for me. I went in thinking I would be a communications major and walked out with a political science degree. So definitely good to have those first 2 years to figure it out before you declare anything. And how are you guys? Because I know during a season, especially for basketball, things get very busy and they're recruits and athletes are asked to do a lot. Does Macalester have a pretty good like academic support system?
Yeah, we do. So we have a center. It's called the Max Center. So Macalester Academic Excellence Center. So let's say you have an English paper that's due Friday. You would go to the Max Center Monday and you'd sign up and say, hey, I'd like to have someone look over my paper. And so they'd look over it, they'd go over with you, make some corrections. And usually it's 24 to 48 hours. They'll get back to you with everything. If someone's not available that day. If you had a econ, test that you got to get ready for, they'd have, so it's economics, English, math, and a few of the sciences that they'll have tutors that are there. And so that's not just for student athletes, that's for the entire student body, which is great. So we don't have like specific just for basketball tutors, but the Mac Center is great for the entire campus.
Awesome. And I think you said just over 2,000 students on campus, right?
Yeah. So just under 2,100.
Gotcha.
3,000 and 2,100.
Cool. And then are guys normally finishing up in 4 years as they come through the program?
Yeah, that's the goal. So we don't redshirt students. It's rare for us to get a transfer. We do have one transfer currently, but that's not the norm. So generally you come in your freshman year, you're here for 4 years. Some guys decide to take a summer class every now and then. So then their senior year, they're just not taking as many courses, but generally speaking, in a semester, you would take 4 classes. So as long as you take 4 every semester, then that'll put you right on track to graduate in 4 years.
Gotcha. And has there been anybody, in your time there that has gone on, to a graduate program after Macalester?
Yeah, so our 4 seniors who just graduated, 2 of them decided to go to the University of Minnesota, which is just 10 minutes from our campus. So one is getting a 1-year master's, and he called me last week. He got a job offer already for the summer of 2021. But
that's awesome.
It's a 1-year master's program, and then one of our other seniors got a fully funded PhD offer at the University of Minnesota. So he was a physics major here, and then it's basically a 5-year program where they pay for his entire PhD. He gets a housing allowance, he gets a stipend, and it's a pretty neat deal.
Yeah, absolutely. That's great. Well, good stuff. I appreciate the insight there academically with Macalester. Looking at this upcoming season, I know it's going to be a little bit of a different year for everybody. But going into this year, I know you guys have a pretty good team coming back. How are you guys looking to play this year? Like style, philosophy, what are some of the things that you guys are trying to accomplish this year?
Yeah, so like being that this is our 3rd year as a staff, and now that our seniors have been with us since their sophomore year and our juniors since their freshman year, this is our first full year where we've had a full year of recruiting and being able to recruit to the style we want to play. So our first 2 years, we didn't really press a whole lot. And I think this year we'll press more than we ever have, which is exciting. We'll be a little deeper. We'll be able to play hopefully 9 to 10 guys in each game, which is something we haven't been able to do the first 2 years. And, this year we do have quite a few guards coming in. So I do think that because of that, there'll be a little bit more of a fast pace than we've had. The first 2 years, we were probably a little bit more controlled offensively than I would have liked. But as a coach, you have to adapt to the team you have, and you have to be willing to change your philosophy. So now going into our 3rd year, we're at a point where our top 5 scorers return. We do have 7 freshmen coming in. So we feel like we're at a place where the way we want to play aligns with the guys that we have. So
Gotcha.
Really exciting year whenever we start playing.
And the conference you guys play in it's the MIAC, correct?
Yeah, yep. So it's the Minnesota Intercollegiate Athletic Conference. So there are 11 schools in the league, all private schools, all in Minnesota. So one thing we talk about with recruits a lot is when you think of the travel, 5 of the 11 schools are within a 30-minute drive. So it's very convenient, right? So you think about pregame, then you go, you play the game, then you get back home. You're sleeping in your bed every night. Our furthest bus trip is Concordia Moorhead, which is about 4 hours north. And then our second furthest bus trip is St. Mary's, which is 2 hours south. And then everything else is an hour and a half or less. So
Gotcha.
I view that as a big selling point because you're not sitting at the airport. You don't have a lot of these long bus trips. And you always, every game last year, we were back and home that night after the game. So
Yeah, that's why I was wanting to ask that question, because I know, again, with being a student athlete and having a lot of time commitments, to be able to get back home and not miss class and all that stuff is at a school like Macalester, I'm sure really
yeah.
helps you guys stay on track there. Any particular players coming back this year that are maybe looking for like all conference type of recognition? How's the team makeup look for you this year?
Yeah, so I would say our leading scorer and rebounder is Jackson Henningfield. So he's a 6'8". He plays the 4 and the 5 for us. He's from Lake Mary, Florida, which is just outside Orlando. He was tremendous last year. He was second team all league, and I think he's one of the best, if not the best, centers in the league. And Gabby Ramos is a guard who was second in the league in assists last year. He'll be back. He's a senior from Dorado, Puerto Rico. And then our third leading scorer was Eric Vierneisel, who was a 6'3" junior from Cupertino, California. Started every game his freshman year, and then started a few games his sophomore year, and then or all but 2 his sophomore year. So I would say those 3 are guys that really do have a potential of being all conference this year.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Should be exciting for you guys then, for sure. Looking ahead too, so I know this is your third year. Do you guys talk about like your next 4 years ahead? Like, what are some of the goals that you guys have as a program moving forward?
Yeah, so I would not say 4 years ahead. We don't want to get too far ahead. So the idea is to, not to give too much coach speak, but you really just want to focus on today and just do the best you can today, and then eventually get to where you need to. But one thing we're really open about is, we've never made the NCAA tournament, like in the history of the college. And so our goal is to be the first. And so in order to do that, there has to be a level of investment from the college, from the president to the athletic director, to the coaching staff, to the strength and I mean, all of these people will play a role in that. But ultimately, it's recruiting guys who want to do something that's never been done before. And so that was a big reason why I came back home. And as we're recruiting students and talking to them, we're just always open about that, because there are those who, we say you can go somewhere where it's already been done, or you can be the first. And so we're looking for guys who really want that challenge.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's great. And with you guys this year, do you guys feel like you have a good shot at that, or how are you guys feeling going into the season?
Yeah, so like I said, we have our top 5 scorers returning, and then we do have 7 freshmen coming in. So I think this is such a unique year. We don't even know exactly when we're going to play and how many games we're going to play, or when the NCAA tournament would even start. And so what we do know is we're not playing until January. And so we're using October, November, December as almost like a longer training camp. So then once January hits, then we're ready. So yeah, I don't ever want to set too low of expectations or too high. I just think, again, to focus. The first thing we got to do is just take care of our first game, right? You go 1-0 each game and you keep building, you get to a point where now you've made it. But we have a lot of talent. We have a lot of youth. We have a lot of depth. We have a lot of size. So I'm really excited to get going this year.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, good luck to you guys this year. Looking at maybe off-season stuff too, because I know D1, D2 maybe looks a little bit different than the D3 level does. What are you guys doing with your players during the off-season? Is there any structured plan for the guys? Are they kind of doing stuff on their own? How does that look?
Yeah, so like you said, the D1 and D2 rules are very different than Division III, and so we just do have a limited amount of time where we can be on the court with our guys. But in our off season, which is like our non-competitive game season, our guys will play pickup 3 or 4 times a week, which is organized by the captains, and then they'll lift with our strength coach 3 times a week. And then I do think rest is really important, and that's something that when you think about preventing injury, it's not just lifting correctly, but it's also knowing when to rest. And so we give our guys 5 days off for Thanksgiving break, so everyone goes home. Last year, we gave our guys 9 days off for winter break, so everyone went home. And then also last year was like 8 or 9 days for spring break. So you have these breaks built in for students who are not from Minnesota, and they want to get home and see their family, but also just to rest. So once they get back here, everyone's refreshed, everyone's excited to get back into the weight room and playing pickup and working on their games. So it's a little bit more on the student athlete. And so like I was saying earlier, we're trying to accomplish things that have never happened here before. So there has to be a commitment level from the student athlete if we're going to get to where we want to go. So so we can give them a plan, but ultimately it's up to them to put in the work.
Gotcha. That's really nice. I know I played at the University of California and maybe got home like once a year for a couple days. You know, it just was a much different experience, I imagine. So I'm sure that helps guys come back recharged when they do get back.
Yeah.
Awesome. Any, this is maybe kind of a one-off question. Have you guys ever had any like dual sport athletes? Anybody playing different sports besides basketball?
Yeah. So we had actually my first year, and I don't know if we'll ever see this again, but we had one senior who he was the starting defensive back on the football team. He was a reserve guard for us. And then he did the high jump for track in the spring, which is very rare. That's extremely rare. But this year we do have one freshman who's going to be a football, basketball. So he's dual. And then we have one who's basketball track. So
Gotcha.
yeah, I would say in an average year, maybe 1 to 2 guys that will do 2, but that's definitely not the norm.
Gotcha. Awesome. And then one recruiting question that I have for you guys. I know again, D3 is a little bit different than some of the other levels. Like for you guys as a program, when do you guys start targeting players? When do you guys usually look to maybe have some visits planned? Like what's your timeline look like there at Macalester?
Yeah, so normally when recruits visit, it's the summer before their senior year or the fall of their senior year. So, and sometimes we'll have, guys come earlier, but I think generally after their junior school year's over is when students will start taking visits and things like that. And ideally, we like to have students visit the fall of their senior year because they can go to a class, they can stay in the dorms, they can play pickup with our guys, they can go to the dining hall, and they just get a better idea of what it's like day to day. We don't have like summer school, so they can visit in the summer, but campus is a lot quieter.
Yep,
So
gotcha.
So yeah, sometimes a student will come in the summer, and if they really like it, then they'll say, hey, I want to come back in the fall and just meet all the guys. So that's normally how we do it.
Perfect. And do you guys look to do any like prospect camps, or is that more just bringing them in and have them play with the guys to kind of get a feel for them?
Yeah, we haven't done prospect camps yet, and it's something we've talked about, but there are so many across the country that will attend. And so that's just normally how we found students. And a lot of it's word of mouth. And we tell recruits all the time, if you are interested in the school, whether it's us or someone else, like send an email to the coach. And it never hurts for recruits and families to be proactive and just see who's out there and see who's interested. And my hope is that recruits, they narrow it down to maybe 5 to 10 schools, and then I don't know, maybe they visit 3 to 5 of those and then they make a decision. But you want as a recruit to have as many options as possible. And, we're not the right fit for everybody, and not every school is the right fit for everyone. So, I encourage students to look at a bigger school, a medium-sized school, and a smaller school, maybe one in a city, one in a smaller town, one on the East or West Coast, one in the Midwest, one in the South, just so they get a little bit of a balance. And then they have to figure out ultimately what's best for them. But that's how we go about it.
Perfect. Yeah, that's great. Great advice for sure. It's definitely something that we try to relay to the families that we're working with, to just, have options and don't rule anything out, and be proactive. So it's great to hear. That's kind of how you view it as well. Looking at, you guys being in St. Paul, being close to a big city. I want to talk a little bit about some of the college life stuff there at Macalester. So I think you had mentioned this prior, but it sounds like freshmen, sophomores are going to be living on campus for the first 2 years.
Yeah, correct. So this year has been different just because of COVID, but in a normal year, your first year and your sophomore year, you're on campus, and it's up to our players. If they want to live with another basketball player, we can arrange that. If they want to live with a random student because they want to just have a little space, then that's fine too. And then your junior and senior year, it's up to you. So some of our guys will decide to get a house together and live near campus. Some like the convenience of being on campus so they can just walk everywhere. Again, it's entirely up to them. But all of our guys this year are, if they're not on campus, they're living within 3 blocks of campus.
Got it. And you did mention they have the option. Do most of the guys live together, or is it kind of a mixed bag where there's some living on their own or with other students? How's that looked for you guys?
Yeah, it's a mix, I would say. So we have 8 guys currently who are living off campus, and I would say 2 of them live by themselves, and then of the other 6, 3 of them live together, 2 of them live together, and then 1 of them lives with a couple other student athletes. So what you'll see a lot here is, like, even when I went to school here, I lived with a soccer player, a women's basketball player, and a football player. So you see a lot of that here. 20% of the students at Macalester are student athletes. And so there's just a lot of crossover between sports.
Gotcha. That's cool. And then with a little bit more free time, especially in the summers, is there anybody that does, like, maybe work a part-time job, or is there internships and things that happen like that during the summers with anybody on the team?
Yeah, so a big selling point when we talk with recruits and families is that because of our location and where we are, again, we're 10 minutes from downtown St. Paul and 15 minutes from downtown Minneapolis, and we're right on a bus line, which connects to a light rail, which goes to both downtown. So last year we had 6 of our 13 players had paid internships in the Twin Cities. So, like, fully paid full-time internships. And we even had a few guys this summer, even though it was COVID and it was tough to find jobs, there were 2 of our guys had paid internships in the Twin Cities. So if students want to go home for the summer, that's fine. And normally what we'll say is the summer after your freshman year, go home. The summer after your sophomore year, it depends. And then the summer after your junior year, definitely stay here. And so the idea is to get a fully paid internship or job. So then at the end of that summer of your junior year, hopefully you have a job offer, so then you're not even thinking about it during your senior year. So
that's really cool. Really cool. Can you say, or do you know, like, what some of the companies or internships that were they were going to?
Yep. So like I said, 6 of our 13 guys were econ majors. And so some of them, one worked at a company called Piper Sandler, it used to be Piper Jaffray, which is an investment bank. So he had a fully paid internship. And then he got a job offer in August before his senior year, which he accepted. Another one of our seniors last year had an internship at 3M. So when you think of, like, Post-it notes and, like, you're driving down the freeway, you see the cones, like they do so many different things, but 3M is headquartered in a suburb of St. Paul. Same thing. He had a paid internship. He got a job offer. We had another student that I mentioned earlier who had a paid internship at the University of Minnesota. And then he ended up applying for the PhD program, and his advisor with the internship ended up writing the letter of recommendation, so then he could, get his PhD or get into the program.
That's awesome.
We had another one who interned at the city of Minneapolis. We had another one who interned at it was a company in Minnetonka. It's called Cherry Tree Financial, which is another small investment bank. So yeah, there are just a lot of opportunities. I think in Minneapolis and St. Paul combined has about 800,000 people. but when you count the whole metro area, it's a little over 3 million. So
Mhm.
there's just a lot of opportunity within 15 minutes of campus.
Very cool. That's at the end of the day, it's what it's all about. So very cool to hear that. Um, I think kind of closing things out here today, then, like, what are some of the, what would you say maybe one or two of the biggest challenges are for student athletes there at Macalester? And then some of the, maybe one or two like really positive things about Macalester that you kind of close things out with today.
Coach Eric, we don't hide from it. The Minnesota winters are very cold. It's not for everyone. They are very, very cold. I grew up here 22 years, and then I left for 10, then I moved back. I can't even overstate it. And it's not to scare anyone, but it just is what it is.
Hmm.
Thankfully, we play indoors, right? So it's
Yeah.
always 70 and sunny in the gym. I would say, like we talked about earlier, we've never made the NCAA tournament. And I think that's something that could maybe scare a recruit, like, well, why haven't they made it? And for me, I'm excited by that because, eventually we're going to be the first. And so we're looking for recruits who want to do something that's never been done before and feel proud
Gotcha.
about that. And when you look back on your career, you can see the progress you've made and the program made, and just be really thankful that you had that experience.
Awesome.
I think a big strength of ours is being in a city. And like I said, we're not right downtown. So I think there's this nice balance of having access to everything the city offers, but not being right there. And so that's something that's great. And then I think our diversity on campus, when you think about the students you're surrounded by in the dining halls, in the dorms, playing a sport. We have one student from Puerto Rico. We have one student was born in Pakistan and raised in Dubai. We have students from Florida, Colorado, Wisconsin, North Dakota, California, New York, Maryland, Utah, one from Minnesota. We have these guys from all over the country and all over the world. So when you think about your learning experience and who you're connecting with, I just think it's an amazing experience for a school of our size to be able to offer, that type of diversity. And then I think you'd have a coach, for anyone who's listening, that truly, you can see in the back of my photo, there's my jersey from when I played here. And I grew up 20 minutes away. So this place and this institution means so much to me. So I'm invested in really making sure that we have a program that everyone's proud of. And so we're looking for guys who want to be a part of that.
That's very, very awesome. Very cool. I really appreciate your time, Coach. Learned a lot about Macalester. I know our families will appreciate all the information, and I know you're busy, and really appreciate you taking the time this morning. So we want to thank you, and definitely we will be encouraging families that are interested in Macalester to reach out to you. So again, we just want to thank you for your time this morning.
Thanks, Coach Eric. I'll sign off, and we'll catch up soon.
Sounds good. Thanks.
Thank you.